There are two main sources of the British law. They are statutes, the written laws made in Parliament which are drawn up by the government departments and the lawyers. They interpreted by courts, while the changes of this law can only be done by Parliament. Common laws which are unwritten based, such as what have happened in the past, such as customs, tradition, convention and precedents of cases in the courts. Types of law courts in England and Wales for handling criminal are: Magistrates' Court handles minor offences presided by unpaid lay magistrates or justice of the peace who have no formal qualification but respected person with integrity. In each magistrates' court there are 3 magistrates with no jury. Magistrates hear and decide themselves the minor crimes or cases. Crown courts are to handle more serious cases or offences and as court of appeal from magistrate court. In the Crown Court there are 1 judge and jury. The jury of 12 jurors decide whether someone is quality or not quality. The judge hears and advises and decides the punishment. The defendant may appeal for the decision in the higher courts, that is, Court of Appeal and the House of Lords as the highest. The defendant's appeal is then heard by the Court of Appeal. It has 1 to 3 judges and no jury. The unsatisfied defendant of the court decision may appeal to the highest Court of Appeal, the House of Lords. In some cases, the appeals may go to the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg. The legal system also includes juvenile courts, which deal with offenders under 17, and coroner's courts, which investigate violent, sudden or unnatural deaths. The legal cases, such as crimes, personal or institutional disputes, breaking of laws and other law cases are dealt with in the courts. There are 2 kinds of laws: criminal law, which is concerned with wrongful acts harmful to the community, and civil law, which is concerned with individuals' rights, duties and obligations towards one another. You should know about the people in law cases. First, there are the solicitors. They deal with day-to-day work of preparing legal documents for industries, trading, agreements and making will. They may also work on courts by preparing lawsuit for barrister in the courts for their client's interest. In Britain, there are more than 50,000 solicitors. Second, the barristers. They may become the defenders or prosecutors in the courts. Barristers wear wigs and grows in maintaining formality of proceeding. They have special training and different career with solicitors. Third, judges. Judges are trained barristers who preside and pass the punishment in the courts after the jury decide the defendant is guilty. Next, the jury, consisting of 12 people chosen from ordinary people at random from those who can vote. In most cases, they are respected people and with integrity. After listening the evidence in the criminal courts, they decide whether the defendant is guilty or innocent. Fifth, the magistrates. They judge cases in the lower courts. They are called justice of the peace, who are usually unpaid and with no formal legal or law qualifications. They are respectable people and are only given some training. Sixth, they are the coroners. They have medical and legal training for detecting or inquiring into violent or unnatural deaths. Last one, clerks of the court. Clerks look after administrative and legal matters in the courtroom. About 90% of all crimes are dealt with by magistrates' courts, but If the punishment is to be more severe or more serious, the case must go to a Crown Court. The most serious punishment is life imprisonment. There has been no death penalty in Britain since 1965. The kinds of crimes from the most frequent ones to the less frequent in Britain are theft and stolen goods, burglary, criminal damage, violence against persons, fraud and forgery, robbery, sexual offences. If someone conducts such crimes, there will be some possible punishments in the court. The punishments may be prison, suspended sentences, that is, the offender does not go to prison unless he or she commits another offense, probation, normal life at home but under supervision, youth custody in special centers for young adults, short disciplinary training in a detention center, community service such as decorating old people's houses, etc., compensation, for example, paying or working for one's victim, fines, the punishment in 80% of cases, disqualification from driving, and fixed penalty fines, especially for parking offences. The prisons are grouped into before trial, after trial before sentence, sentenced adult prisoners, sentenced young offenders, male prisoners, female prisoners, and other prisoners. The big question is, who are the other prisoners? Each of Britain's 52 police forces is responsible for law enforcement in its own area. In addition, there are various national and regional connections, and local forces cooperate with each other. Some special services, such as the Fraud Squad, who investigate financial crimes, are available to any local force in England and Wales. In general, however, the local police forces work independently under their own chief constables. Each force is maintained by a local police authority. The exception is London, where the Metropolitan Police are responsible to the Home Secretary. Police duties cover a wide range of activities, from traffic control to more specialized departments such as river police. Each independent force has a uniformed branch and a criminal investigation department or CID with detectives in plain clothes. In addition, the police authorities in England and Wales employ 40,000 civilians and nearly 5,000 traffic wardens. Britain has relatively few police, approximately one policeman for every 400 people, and traditionally they are armed only with truncheons except in special circumstances. The English policemen have favourable nicknames, the Copper and Bobby. The copper came from the verb to cop, which means to capture, and the name Bobby came from the police founder Sir Robert Peel. But the criminals nicknamed the policeman as Fuzz or Pig. So basically, the universal nickname for policeman is pig, isn't it? A police court is usually a court presided over by a magistrate or JPs who tries cases without a judge nor jury. The policeman who charges the offender is asked by the magistrate to give the evidence under the oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Really? The magistrate is usually making his decision guilty or not guilty to the offender based on the policeman's account or evidence.